Well, first tonight, workers of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency have called off their strike after the federal government's intervention. The workers had protested over poor working conditions, grounding flights across the country on Thursday. But after a meeting with the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, in Abuja, the strike was called off. Other workers were concerned over the non-implementation of the new national minimum wage, ignoring requests to include omitted staff in past allowances and neglecting key training programs. But Nigerian air passengers have continued to fly despite the weather risk factors posed by the strike.
Right, let's cross live to Lagos studios and speak to retired Air Commodore Ademola Onitiju. He is president of the Aviation Safety Roundtable Initiative. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight. Well, it's heartening to hear that the strike by NIMET has been called off after a deal with the federal government. Let's talk about the impact this really has had in terms of cost, more importantly in terms of safety to lives, because we hear that many airlines are still flying, international and local airlines. Just a few local airlines have not gone in the air because of this strike. Mr. Onitiju, unfortunately it looks like he did not hear question there. Can you confirm that you can hear us?
Good evening, Ngozi.
Okay. Good evening. Good to see you. Yeah, well, I was
able to hear. Yeah, it's a pleasure being here.
Right. You said you were able to hear what now?
I heard the first part.
Right.
Yes, I heard you asking about the implications of some airlines flying in spite of the strike.
Yes.
It was an act of gross indiscipline. And I dare say it's illegal. In the Nigerian airspace, NIMET is tasked with the provision of weather information to aid and ensure safe conduct of flights. And even when you file a flight plan for a destination, part of what the air traffic controllers or NAMA will ask you is for the weather report. So if such is not there, then you cannot fly. It's like a no-fly. Yes, we know technology has provided many applications, software with which they can navigate or things like that. But in the Nigerian airspace, NIMET is the authority. And those who did fly in violation of the non-provision of weather reports by NIMET were putting people at risk. Even the machines. Insurance matters, lives most importantly. And it's an embarrassment to the nation. But happily, the prompt intervention by the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, stepping in and causing the union to suspend action is a welcome development. For us in the Aviation Safety Roundtable, we've always maintained that infrastructure be provided, and we emphasize on welfare of aviation workers and their well-being. It's sad that several months after the announcement of increment or new minimum wage, that an important set of workers, such as the NIMET staff, still have cause to complain or go to protest. We at ART do not object to labor unions protesting, so long as they do not disrupt air operations. But these ones are essential, critical, essential services, which the government should not in any way play with.
Okay.
So we are hopeful that
Retired
all these grievances will be
Retired Air
addressed
Commodore, if you
soonest.
can hear me. Retired Air Commodore, if you can hear me. I think I'd like to take you to the basics. Because you did respond to say that it was gross misconduct and indiscipline for airlines to still fly during the strike. Perhaps we should educate Nigerians and our viewers around the world. What role does NIMET play in the aviation space? And what makes it so critical that if they're down tools, we should not be in the air?
Yes. Like many other aviation agencies, NIMET is responsible for giving weather reports, like from the place of origin of the flight to the destination. They are able to tell you what you might encounter and the severity of that, and the pilot, having been trained, will weather the storms. He will be prepared for it, and if it is too dangerous, the flight could be slightly delayed. So, without the reports, you should not get airborne. Weather is the biggest enemy of aviation. When weather says no, there is no aviation. You don't put lives of persons and machine at risk. And also there is the question of insurance. Should anything fatal happen, insurance will deny claims. And in Nigeria, only NIMET is the authorized authority that gives such information. If you rely on any other source, you are doing so at your own risk. And that is why I found commendable the stance of Chief Allen Oyema of Herpes that stood his ground and suspended all flights. He placed priority on the safety of lives of passengers. His position coincides with the position of the Aviation Roundtable, of which I am president. Safety of lives and equipment is paramount. Others who did so, like I said in my introduction, they did so in an act of indiscipline. So that's the much I want to say in that regard.
Or could it be also, as we have learned from our aviation correspondent, that there are instances that would allow aircraft to go, on air, in spite of the fact that NIMET, is on strike, considering the fact, according to what we're hearing, that some of the aircraft actually are fitted with this equipment that allows, the airlines independently determine what the weather situation would be like if they can travel or not. Could that have contributed to these other airlines, traveling?
Yes, possibly. You see, it's easier probably getting airborne, but coming down is the issue. Some aircraft will have fittings, devices that allows instrument landing system that you can land. But where facilities are provided, but before you even get to the point of landing, what happens in the air during the trip? If you are better educated about the situation in the air, your route where you are passing through, the challenges there, thunderstorm and so many other things that could endanger the lives on board, you will know how to plan your movement.
All right.
So that is the idea.
All right, sir.
And that was why NIMET is charged.
Retired Air Commodore, stay with us. Stay with us for a moment. Let's hear from our reporter who was on ground today at the airport and spoke with the Minister of Aviation. Stay with us and listen to this report.
Chants of protesters as staff of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, down tools.
the look and feel of the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, where passengers are actually not even blinking about the safety implications of the NIMET strike, and they are fully embarking on their journeys. As you can see, just behind me is United, that is fully operational, and over there you can find Ibom Air, and Aero is also working, Overland is working, and one other new airline is also working. Passengers are not afraid to fly.
With NIMET down in twos, the implications include the lack of weather forecast, which may have hampered flight safety. But some passengers remain undaunted.
Of course, I'm worried about the safety, but for them to fly, that means it's safe for them to fly. They can't put people out, and if it's not safe.
Of course, we're worried about the safety of our flights. Yes, we're just hearing about the whole strike. So, but yes, of course, if there should be anything that could be done for the whole strike to be uplifted, and then flights to actually go, so that persons could actually have their logistic up and running.
A RISE crew captured local airlines such as Ibom Air, United Nigeria Airlines, selling tickets and checking passengers in. The airlines explain that their aircraft technology can detect weather forecast by 50%. As it appears, for some passengers, getting to their destination is more important than safety.
I'm not worried about the strike. I'm traveling regardless. I have to get home.
Partially, I'm afraid. But I know some of these aircrafts, they come in with inbuilt weather forecast equipment in it. So if NIMET is not available, I think that's why I have confidence. These aircrafts, they have electronic computerization that will guide them.
On Wednesday, Air Peace and British Airways had announced the suspension of flight services over the NIMET workers' strike.
Everybody's just stranded because we all have our programs for the day. You know, coming to the airport to say that your flight is being cancelled by NIMET, no reason. So now everybody's stranded. Nobody knows what to do. You know, it's so frustrating.
We are booked to travel 12. We were booked to travel 12:35. Okay. We just an hour before then, we were told the flight has been cancelled.
Okay.
Yes.
And then now you're still at the airport.
Yeah, we've just arrived. We want to find out what is going on.
Arise News speaks with the Minister of Aviation on what the federal government is doing, including the safety of the airlines that remain operational despite the NIMET workers' strike.
The services provided by NIMET is crucial and indispensable to aviation. I repeat, it's crucial and indispensable. We will not be safe in the air without these individuals sitting down here. So they hold the bulwark of aviation for us. Modern technology has also, however, improved some of these airplanes that they can, through some other gadgets and means, they can also read the situation of the weather while they take off and land. So they are very modern equipment. However, we in the military, we will not encourage continuous use of such devices without the actual aid of NIMET.
The minister, who embarked on a 5-hour closed-door meeting with the aviation unions, later ordered the temporary payment of subsistence allowances and other welfare packages for the striking workers while awaiting presidential approval for their major demands.
On that subsistence allowance, we have since approved it, and we directed immediate payment, not payment in 2 weeks. On subsistence allowance to all NIMET staff across the country, I have directed immediate payment as from tomorrow.
We went on strike due to certain things that we look at it that is unpalatable for the staff. Mostly the welfare that is not ongoing with us. Then it now brought out the communique. You can see in the communique all the demands, our requests he have attended to it. Even out of the demands we have right now, as I'm speaking to you, he has attended to it, which it has been approved. This is the first minister since I've been a staff of this parastatal that incident will occur like this, and I will drove down where he was then down to come attend to this situation. Sincerely, we appreciate the Honorable Minister for his quick response to make sure that we bring things back to normal.
This meeting back to the individuals who gave us the mandate to represent them here. And after discussions with them, we will make subsequent announcements with regard to the strike.
Tonight.
Tonight.
This is what 4 p.m. at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport in Abuja looks like, still buzzing with passengers who are saying that they will continue to fly, especially because the local airlines, some local airlines, are still selling tickets. Well, for Air Peace, there are no operations today until NIMET is able to deliver a credible weather report to them. But for other passengers, they say they will continue to fly. From the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, right here in Abuja, Mary Chinda, Arise News.
Right.
Yeah, our reporter there, Mary Chinda. Our guest is still with us, retired Air Commodore Ademola Onitiju. Thank you so much for staying with us on this matter. I just wanted to ask you before we wrap up. You listened to the minister say, reiterating your point that NIMET is a critical agency and they are indispensable. There are also conflicting reports as to whether this industrial action has been called off. Unconfirmed reports say it has been called off. But should it go longer than this? Should it linger beyond today? Retired Air Commodore, what are the consequences? Are there contingency plans should an agency like NIMET down tools? What happens next?
Yeah, there is supposed to be a second 11. The Nigerian Air Force has people who are trained in the weather forecasts, and many of them even do time with NIMET as an organization, because we are all operating in the same airspace, and such second 11 could be called into position. But the important thing is we should learn to live by rules and procedure. And that was why I used the words indiscipline for those who, in defiance or ignoring an important institution like NIMET, to put people's lives at risk. So for me, it's still the same thing. We should learn to respect institutions. We should learn to allow institutions perform their jobs. We should not in any form undermine when protests against what is obviously inappropriate is being perpetrated. I had opinions of some members of the public who were traveling, who were oblivious of the gravity of what could result. Insurance claims will be resisted when it comes to both lives and the equipment aboard. And of course, it's a national embarrassment should mishap happen, So it requires all of us to do the right thing and insist on the right thing being done. Once it is said that an agency that is supposed to perform a function is unable to perform it, or it's in protest, we should strengthen such protests so that the right thing be done. On the part of the government, I will still commend the Honorable Minister for his prompt response, and the Labour people too, for meeting them halfway. This should not be allowed to linger. I like the words the minister used. It's of immediate action. So all these grievances should be addressed. And in my engagement with the Honorable Minister at one time, while we as an organization commended what he's doing, we told him there was more to do. We emphasized the need to address welfare, human capital development, and aviation infrastructure. So we did say that much, and with this, we hope it will be well rounded up.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. We hope the subsistence allowance approved will go far enough to avert similar situation from happening again. Air Commodore retired Ademola Onitiju. I want to believe, Onitiju, President Aviation Safety Roundtable Initiative. Thank you very much for...